So when you think about mentoring, like kids, young professionals need to be mentored. From the student side, what I'm always telling them is like, you don't want to be a mentor charity case. You want to be in a mentor relationship.
In this episode of the BUILT2SUIT podcast, I had a chance to sit down with President of CrossMarc Services, John Crossman. John shares his insights on leadership, mentoring, and building authentic relationships in real estate. We dive into balancing business and life, fostering diversity through his HBCU initiatives, and creating impact beyond a simple transaction. Plus, why is generosity and intentionality, why does it matter for long-term success? Ready for a conversation about purpose-driven growth? Join me and let's find out.
I'm really interested in like actual issues that you can do and be a part of. For example, I got a friend of mine that's now the head of the media center at an inner city, somewhat elementary school in Orlando.
Okay.
And so he's now going to do a campaign to raise $10,000 to buy books for kids in this place. So people are like, oh, books are being banned or blah, blah, blah. Well, guys, like we can all agree on like thousands of books, and here are kids that need books. Let's get the kids the books, right? Like that headspace.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be.
That makes a lot of sense. I've really enjoyed how you've been involved in mentoring. You've done that across a wide spectrum of things. We talked to several people here in the last 24 hours that think that's important.
Yeah.
And that's really what the podcast, that's what we built BUILT2SUIT for,
right.
The 0 to 7 year employee that needs a hack, that needs,
right.
I noticed someone walking away with your book. I noticed a lot of your books have been leaving the booth today.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's mainly young people that are leaving with those books. And I just get a sense that that's where we wanted to position BUILT2SUIT, is to find people around the industry that could really give back that shortcut. Yeah. There are no shortcuts in business. I get it. But I was at the session of the reception, Sunday night. Mm-hmm. Everybody was 30 to 40. I went to our dinner, which we hosted 85 people. They were all 60.
And you fed some of mine, so thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's really not the issue we're getting at.
Yeah, no, I get it.
The issue we're getting at is the dinner no longer gets to the demographic.
Yeah.
That I think we thought, and it was so obvious that I mentioned it during the dinner. I said, everybody here is wonderful friends to this firm, but you're all 60 and 70. Mm-hmm. And yet the young person wasn't represented. So what do you think we can do as an industry to try to attract that person and to get where they are?
So I can give a couple thoughts, like I'm good. So let me say this. You remember Danny Warfel, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback from University of Florida? I hate the Gators, but I love him. That's not true.
Well, I'm a Tennessee fan.
I know. So we don't like.
I lost to him several times myself.
Well, he does a great job now. He's doing some inner city ministry kind of stuff. And one of the things he'll tell you is that if you and I were like, we're going to go help this family in need, and they don't have any Christmas gifts, and you and I show up, and we're going to bring Christmas gifts for the kids. Let's say that there's a man, the dad is in the house. What does he do when you and I show up with those gifts? He'll walk out the back door. It's shaming, right? Like we might think we're helping him, but we're kind of hurting him, right? Like that's hard. So what if instead we said to that same man, like, hey, we got a little job project we need you to do. You can make this extra money, and then here's some gifts we think you can buy. Pulling him into that process is more healthy. Like it's a healthier way. So that's like the concept of like when helping hurts, right? So when you think about mentoring, like kids, young professionals need to be mentored. From the student side, what I'm always telling them is like, you don't want to be a mentor charity case. You want to be in a mentor relationship, right? And so, the heart of business is like we're helping one another, like if you look at my booth right over there, what do you see right on the table right now is a wooden bowl that was built, by Lonnie Peterson, right? And I bring it here. You know why I bring it here? Because I want to honor you. I want to honor you guys because I believe in you guys, right? So you come by my booth, you think about your company, right? Because that's where we're in relationship, right? Like I want to see your business grow. You want to see my business grow, and we can grow together, right? So some people will say that it's a relationship business, but they really don't live it. They live in a transaction business, and they feel like you don't have something to offer, right? So to me, to the core of your question, it's like, how do we help develop and foster relationships? That's what we're trying to do. And how do we encourage them to seek out relationships and not seek out transactional stuff, right? And so maybe to that question, it's like sort of blowing the whole thing up and starting over at one by one. Like, who do we want there? This really happened. I'm not going to name the company, but last year, a company wanted to have a dinner at this conference, and they were on a call, and apparently somebody said, who's somebody fun and well-known that we could have at the dinner? And somebody said, John Crossman. And so a guy texted me, and then he called me. He's like, hey, could you come to this dinner? And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I came. It was so bad. It was so terrible. Like, I can't come in there and make the room. I can't do that, right? So you got to come back to its ethos of like, what are the connective points that we're trying to get to?
Well,
does that help? Like, to me, it's
Yeah.
like, it's really starting out like, who are these key people? And then trying to like engage it. Maybe being more intentional about the people, but being more intentional about the conversation.
So
you know?
you've done development your whole career. You've
Right.
done it in multiple organizations.
Right.
Obviously, you started an organization from
Yeah.
the ground up
Yeah.
as a mature individual, and your life balance in that is totally different because of the situation you went through. I totally get it.
Right.
How do you wake up every day and put business in business's place and the personal life in the personal life space? Because being a CEO is very hard.
Very hard.
You feel constantly tugged by the business. So I'm intrigued. You seem to have a good balance in that. I'm just intrigued to learn.
Well, you're talking about balance. Like, first off, like, all my stuff does mix, right? Like somebody might say, like, oh, John, like, you do business meetings on Saturdays, or you take a call at night or morning. I've got a couple of good friends. One of them's at Publix, and we have calls at 7 a.m. all the time, just because we're both available and we like talking at 7 a.m., right? That's true. I also get calls from my wife, my kids during the day, right? Like, so to me, it's like I'm very accessible by my family during work hours, and at home hours, I'm very accessible by work, right? But part of that's because I enjoy my family and I enjoy my work, right? So there's that. That said, I still can have like healthy boundaries. There's times I don't answer my phone. There's times I don't answer my email. And what I'm really trying to do as I get older is trying to make sure I'm being more present. Like, so when I'm having a meal with my family, like we went on a family cruise last year, and there was no phones, right? So like that would help for being present. But I also want to be present at work. And the funny thing is, I get reached out to by students now, and they'll want to get a cup of coffee with me, and I don't drink coffee, so that's kind of our, like, whatever.
There's some irony in that somewhere.
Irony, yeah. But what I tell them is, I'm like, hey, why don't you call me Saturday morning? And Saturday mornings, I walk my dog. I usually do some chores. Sometimes I drive and look at properties. But my head is available. It's like I'm not being distracted. I do that with vendors sometimes. Sometimes I have new vendors, and they really want to have a Zoom call with me, and I get it. They got a boss or whatever. And I don't really want to do the Zoom call, but I'm like, but if you could call me on my cell, yeah, I might be just doing something in my backyard, but you really have my full attention, and you have me like in a creative space too. So the whole balance thing is hard. You got to kind of keep trimming at it. You got to find the path that works for you. For me, my openness is what works for me, right? And then I try to make it like when I'm in good, healthy spaces. The last thing I'll tell you that, because I have had some issues, one major and a couple small ones, with clinical depression. And my depression really did come on from like overdoing it. So I do have to like listen to my body, right? And like last night I had to go to bed early, right? Like, and I was intentional about that. And I like tomorrow morning I don't have any meetings till later. And I'm not really a sleep in guy, but I try to do more of toning it down. That makes sense?
Yeah.
You're just listening to your body and how you're feeling.
I can feel that same behavior because we have offices, and because I had made the commitment to be in those offices 5-6 times a year. My
hard.
travel schedule it's brutal enough. By the time August comes along,
Yeah.
you're feeling it, and by the time and just you're being tugged. You look at it. I build my calendar a year in advance.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for the benefit of my family because my wife wanted to be able to travel.
Yeah.
And she wanted to be able to slot stuff in. And I
Right.
said, okay, this is when we're going to travel.
Mm-hmm.
These are the holes. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And we just came off a cruise.
Nice. That's
one
awesome.
of honestly, those are the two things we really enjoy doing. We love traveling in our RV with the
cool.
dogs, and we love cruising. But I find myself, on the road.
Right,
and,
right.
I think that's been a real challenge for me, and I'm really trying to understand how we bring up our new leadership so that maybe that isn't quite as much of my future as it was of my past.
Yeah.
So,
Well, all of that you said is true. And leading a business or starting a business just does require a ton of hours, right? What I think is a sad thing in life is when you meet people that are just checked out. Some people just checked out of life, man. And you see them, and there are times, I'll be honest with you, it appeals to me a little bit. I kind of wish I could check out and not think about anything for a while. But what I like is seeing people living life with a capital L. And if you're living life with a big L, I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of joy, and there's a lot of sorrow. There's a lot of sadness, I have a friend of mine who I've done a little bit of business with, a wonderful man, married, has a 4-year-old son, and his wife has got brain cancer, and she's not going to make it. And he and I, we walked my dog together this weekend. We spent 90 minutes together. And I told him, I said, look, it's your job to care for your wife and your son. It's my job to care for you. He doesn't need a ton of my time, but he's going to need some consistent time for me and others for a long time, right? Yeah. And I want to be there for him. And my point of telling that story to you is, if I want to have a really deep, close friend, I'm going to need to be there for him when his wife passes. That's a reality, right? Yeah. If you want to have a big, successful business where you make a ton of money and you grow, that's awesome. You're going to lose a ton of money, and you're going to lose clients, and you're going to lose Lonnie. You're going to lose people, yes. Right? And
absolutely.
Does you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's not like living capital L, like it's high all the time, like
no.
woo. It's
no.
not that. It's developing the skill sets to go through them. And when you're asking about balance, I do want to make this point too. One of the biggest challenges I had in my life is anger. And I had a long season in my life where I would get angry, and let's just say 10's a rage and 1's like you're peaceful. You would say, John, you should probably be at a 4, and I was at an 8, right? It's not that I should be at a 0, because some things happen that are really annoying, right? Like legitimately aggravating. But that delta between 4 and 8 probably has to do with my childhood, probably has to do with unresolved trauma. So it's not like I'm trying to get to 0. That's ridiculous. God gave us feelings for a reason. So we do have feelings, but it's trying to take the self-reflection and the healthiness of how I can keep doing that. For you and I to have a healthy business relationship, we're going to have to confront each other.
Oh, yeah.
We're not, we're not.
There's going to be a time when we don't agree.
Yeah.
And
sure. I've told you a story before. There was a guy I worked with a million years ago, and I was a young guy. He was an old guy, and he quit. And after he quit, it turned out he had hired an architect to do a bunch of work, hadn't paid him, didn't tell anybody, and it left our company with like $80,000 in architectural fees. Wow. And of course the boss was like, I'm not paying him. And I remember looking at that architect and his face, and I'm like, I never want a part of that. I never want a part of that. I don't want to be around that, right?
No.
And when I think about building business future, it's like, but my point being is like I struggle with you and your team sometimes, when do I ask them, we're doing new business development together, or I have a project, I'm not sure it's going to happen, but make sure you get paid. But I'm saying my point being is the way to deal with that is just talk about it, right?
Yeah, I would submit to you that the muscle memory of this firm has been lead first with your generosity and expect that good things will come later. That has not always been the number one business acumen. It probably wouldn't be something you'd hear in Wall Street,
right?
But it's what we were taught.
Yeah,
it's the mentoring I got, which is start with a relationship, be a professional friend, try to figure this out. You'll have an opportunity somewhere down the line where a John Crossman will either ask you to do something for them, or they'll focus you on someone else.
Well, and what I'm saying back to you with that is I hear that and receive that, and I want you to know, I want you to tell me if you're not getting business. If you're going to give me that generosity and I say thank you and I receive it, I want to make sure I'm returning it, right? Because I would never want you to have a seed of bitterness in you of man, I'm throwing all this business CrossMarc's way and they're not throwing business back, or they're not sharing a relationship. My point being is for you and I to be close business people, we have to talk.
Absolutely.
And we have to lean in, and we have to say this something that maybe is not spoken and talk about it.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something not spoken.
Okay, Lord, okay.
Okay. Now, let's talk about something like what you like to do when you're not doing business? Obviously, you like cruising with your family. I absolutely love cruising with my family. I'm carrying about 10 extra things on my body because I did cruise with my family. That's the unfortunate thing. We plan the first meal, or the second meal gets planned after the first meal, I think, on a cruise. But what do you like to do?
Sure.
You obviously on the weekends you do things. Right. What gets you excited? FSU, right?
Yeah, FSU. I would say when you ask that, what first thing jumps to mind is my dog. I've got a 130-pound Great Dane named Daisy. She's a rescue. I love hanging out with Daisy. So I love my dog and I enjoy that. I've obviously enjoyed time with my family. The thing I would say on top of that about me, to answer that question, is I really get energy from impact. Like, if you said, like, what would be a fun weekend, besides like hanging out or watching TV, or I love documentaries, like that kind of stuff. I love to sit back with people and say, how can we make real impact? And I'll give you an example. Let's talk about race, okay? Let's talk about race. So the average white family in America, average black family, have a wealth gap, the huge percentage average wealth gap. The largest percentage of that wealth gap is in real estate. And so one of my passions is to promote real estate education at historically black colleges. So a lot of times on weekends, I like working on that. Like, how do we promote generational wealth in the black community? How do we provide real resources, So things that give, like I always think, like what makes me energy level pop up, it's when I think about doing things that make real impact in real situations. I have a partnership with Advent Health. We promote mental health and things like that. And so, part of mental health is just having good conversations with people. So I love good, healthy conversations with people about what's going on with me, what's going on with them. And I love thinking about ways we can work together to make impact.
Well, I just want to say for the record right here today, I said, I haven't spent enough time nurturing this relationship.
Oh my Lord, come on.
And frankly, it's a function of trying to find those balances that we talked about early on. It's really important. It was really important for this company on its founding to build these. You built a good relationship with Lonnie. I think your relationship with Jed was significantly
Absolutely,
better.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to step in and be a part of that, because
absolutely.
I think these two firms deserve to be together.
Yeah.
They deserve that. I like to be associated with good firms, and
Well,
you're
Go ahead,
a good firm. You're a total good firm.
Thank you.
And when we associate ourselves with good firms, we behave. Our best day is always better when we're doing work with good firms. And so for that, and the fact that we're doing some business together, that's kind of icing on the cake. I mean, that's cool that we're doing that, and it's cool that you recommended some cool people to us.
Yeah.
And those are all great things. But I walk through here and I see all the people over the years that we've been associated with through Lonnie, through Jed, through the company at large, and I go, we're really pretty lucky people. We're proud to be here.
Didn't you and I go, take a flight together one time? Didn't we?
We flew home from New York.
Is that what we did?
2008, probably.
Lord,
long time ago.
You got a good memory, but I remember we did that together. Well, it's funny. I was in your offices in Maitland the other day, and your building is right, like walking from our new building. And what struck me is that I like to do an event with you guys where I bring my crew over, your crew, and then let's just do a swap meet of just talking and then just network together. I'd love to do that. And
let's
just
set it up right here. See, it's on video, so that means I have to do it. We can always edit this part out, but seriously, John,
I would love
this
that.
is really critical moment for us to kind of rekindle what these two firms can do. Wonderful opportunity. Really want you to sit down for a full podcast with me. I just think you've got so much you're doing in the spaces of mentoring, especially in some of your historic black college stuff and some of the real estate stuff you talked about. There's just a wealth of stuff I think people would like to learn. Yeah. People would like to be connected with you. Plus, we need to give a few more of those books out to some of those youngsters to show them that coming here means something. It means connecting.
I appreciate it.
Means something.
I tell people now is that if you've ever been to a Coldplay concert and seen on the Jumbotron a CEO and the head of HR, my book is trying to prevent that from happening. That's really what my book is about, and timely, timeless.
What is really unfortunate is I am not a Coldplay fan, but my wife has had me in one in New York City and one in Tampa. So I've been to 2 Coldplay concerts, have never been on that round screen. Yeah. And if I would, I've been with her. Our tickets generally aren't good enough to get on the round screen historically, but she loves going out and doing events. So
that's
certainly appreciate the time you spent
Absolutely,
today.
My pleasure.
And let's get up here and figure out how we're going to make that event happen.
Awesome. Thanks
so
much.
A lot.
Good to see you.